So good morning, everyone. So thank you for coming to my panel. This is Con Survival. So I'm Dean, I'm the pharmacist. That PharmD over there, that's my doctor of pharmacy degree. So that's a little hint on what I'm gonna talk about. So we're actually gonna get started right away. So it's gonna be pretty comprehensive. So we're gonna talk about what to do before the con. So your planning, your preparation. So during the con, what's important that you need to do during the con, and what you do after the con. So in case if you get sick with con crud and all that. I'm actually gonna talk about communicable diseases, just to brush off a little bit. COVID's one of them. Now there's monkeypox, so I'll talk about a little bit of that. Okay, we don't want anyone with monkeypox to come to a con. What's gonna happen? You're gonna get the rashes. You're gonna get the flu-like symptoms. We're actually gonna talk about that one. And you should put your butt back at home if you're sick. Please don't infect everyone else, okay? So I also talk about con blues, the con crud, all those things. So, when you're looking for a con, you're looking at size. So some people like it big, like me. Actually, I like both, big and small, because they offer both, have the best of both worlds. If you're not into crowds, of course, you want to go for something smaller. If you want to have a big, if you want to interact with more people, if there's more merch and all that, usually you go to a bigger con. And location, the best thing is what's closest to you, or what's easier to get to. If you want to go for something that's really far, I'm gonna go over how it's important to have a budget. And type of con, this is mostly anime. There's video game. There's a regular Comic Con, a general Comic Con. There's even a steampunk. I saw a My Hero Academia con, even a Dragon Ball Z con. And whether it's physical or online. So since the pandemic, some of the cons actually went online. I think more we're gonna go towards a hybrid. We haven't gotten there yet, but especially for big cons, it'll be great that they have an online option, especially since if a con is too far away, like for example, Anime Expo, that's the other side, that's like 3,000 miles away. If you wanna get that experience without booking a hotel and paying a lot of money for the flights. All right. So also reviews and feedback. So before we started, I talked about how I thought about Otakon. I'm gonna do a review for it on Instagram. I'm actually collaborating with a friend who actually has a bad experience. So everyone's different. So you gotta go through the feedback. And then of course, as I said, the budgeting is very important. So with COVID, I'm not gonna talk too much about it. So, the cons have been canceling. It's coming back, of course. But there are some people who are still scared, and it's okay. Now we're dealing with monkeypox, and then now north in Rockland County and Orange County in New York, they found polio in wastewater, and then there's one polio case. So I know it's kind of scary. Shouldn't stop you from doing what you want to do or doing what you need to do, because there are ways to combat this, and I'll talk about just briefly on that. All right, and some went into Discord, Zoom. Some people went on Twitch in order to do the virtual cons. All right, and this con actually did hybrid at one point. So actually, no, did online and also went back. So it hasn't been canceled. So things happen, right? Things get canceled. All right, so always plan ahead and always be proactive. It's very important. All right, and that'll help you save money as well. So before you do the tickets, don't purchase tickets right away, right when it comes in. Gotta know your schedule. Sometimes doing it too early will lead, a lot of times these cons, they will not refund your money. Like 90% of the time. So you have to actually fight for it many times. So, but if you decide to go, be prepared, do your homework, all right? You have to also plan if you're going far out, if you need to stay at a hotel, which we'll talk about more. It's very important to plan things out. Of course, if you book a little bit later, you may run at either a a hotel room's being run out, or whatever is available, the price will go up. So obviously that makes sense. Now we're dealing with inflation. So everything's going up. If organizer cancels, you can ask for refunds. Now Anime Next is another Jersey con. They rolled over my tickets to 2023. So that's one example. Even Amtrak, for example. For me, Amtrak canceled my itinerary. So transportation plans can get canceled. So you have to have these backup plans. And if you're taking subway, whatnot, plan for alternative routes. So money, budgeting. So you have to estimate how much you spend. So these are the few here. So transportation, food, hotels, your merch. I have a friend who spends $1,000, $2,000 on merch. I don't know why, but if you're able to budget, great. So using your credit card, debit card, not everyone accepts debit or credit card, even have Apple Pay. So always have a little bit of cash with you. So always if you have a job or if you're getting allowance or whatnot, always set aside money. So there is a app called Twine that'll do it for you. It's take straight from the bank account, and they'll even get interest. So that's just one way of doing it. Some people will take maybe a percentage per paycheck, or they'll just put money per week or per month. It's up to you. But when you manage your money, you have to be proactive, okay? You can't just focus on not everyone accepts credit card, all right? What I do is I keep track of every cent and every dollar, all right? So that will help me control it, because if you don't track down, you're not going to be focusing on how much money you have. You're just going to focus on, oh, I want that thing, I want that. So that leads to this: avoid impulse and reactionary spending. So you have to think and strategize, all right? And I will go more into that. And you always have to ask yourself, do I have enough money when the con ends? Because you have to prepare for it. God forbid something happens. Will you have enough to eat or travel, and will you have enough for future cons? So very important to save up. Some cons are free, very hard to find. Most of the free ones are virtual. I remember there was one called Con, used to be free. It's another Jersey con. Now they charge $5. They probably went up too, And Con Extras may have extra costs. So one example is near Comic Con when you do a Zoom meet with a celebrity. I don't know, that doesn't work with me. I like to shake a person's hand, but that's just me. But they charge people for that. So that's how I do it. I have it in my book. You can write it down. I actually do it on my iPhone, which is right there. So that'll help track down your money. You can also track down your time. I don't know which phones you guys have, but they also have as well how to schedule and also put those notifications in. So the rough draft. So what you're gonna do, you build your war chest, of course. So that's how you find out how much money you're going to spend. And you write down all the expenses. So food and drink, as I said, hotel, travel, your miscellaneous, the merch, okay? And if you're going to travel as a group, you have to budget based on per person. So very, very important. Always have money left over, as I said. That's one example. Anime Expo has it. They have it in a spreadsheet. So you can go on their website for that. Last year, I went to Puchi Con Atlantic City. This is how I did my budget. So that's just one example. Keep it easy, simple, all right? So I spent this much money for the badges. So I had this much money that I put in. You can change it up a little bit. You can, if you want, you can add more money to it, or you can just move the money around with the budget. What fixed is you just spend it. That's it, done. But variable, it depends if you're hungrier, or if you want to eat more, or if you want to eat less, or if you want to buy more merch or buy less merch. I'm not that kind of person who buys a lot of merch, maybe because I'm counting down all my money and all that, but it's there. And then you have total budget left over. As I said, make sure to have money left over. In this case, I only had $40 left over, but that doesn't include, what money I have in my 2 bank accounts. But again, this is just to show you how it's very important to budget and to be within your means. So registering, so obviously most cons have a website, all right? Many cons, this one I think uses Eventbrite if I'm not mistaken. They may move to another site, I believe, but other third-party sites is TicketLeap, Ticketmaster, Tixer, GrowTix, ShowClicks, those kinds of things. If you went to other cons, you've seen this already. And some cons have different ways of doing it. You have to do fan verification for New York Comic Con. That sucks. But then again, this is to fight the scalpers. And then sometimes you may need to have a member account. So finding a place to stay. All right, my recommendation, always find something that you can cancel at almost any time or until the last minute. So in order to do that, in many cases you have to book early first, okay, to get your room and shop around with different websites. I have like a whole list of websites coming up. And checking feedback and reviews. Just because it's expensive doesn't always mean it's going to be the best. Just because it's closest to it and it's cheap doesn't mean it's going to be the best either. So you have to do your research. And sometimes some cons will provide hotel blocks. So that's your opportunity for savings. Again, even if they have hotel blocks, you have to do the research, look at different sites. All right. So as I said, price, quality, and distance is important, all right? Cheapest, as I said, isn't always the best, all right? If you want to be closest to the con, are you willing to spend more money? And as I said, higher quality doesn't always lead to convenience. And read the fine print too, okay? Someone told me that after they checked out, they trashed the room before they checked out, so the hotel added another charge. So please, before you check out, make sure not only that you don't leave any of your belongings, take all your belongings, but make sure you clean it, at least, to the minimum degree. I understand we're all busy and all that, but people will do the hotels will do this, so be careful. So some websites, hotels.com, Hotels Tonight. I use cheap tickets for most of the things. Hotels Combined. Airbnb they have as well, but you can, if you don't want to go to a hotel, if you want to do that. So there's these other sites here, Travelocity, Booking.com, those things. So 3 different things in staying at a place. So Airbnb, hotels, motels, and a hostel. Last week I was in a hostel. All right, now it's cheaper. I only spent $40 for one night. So that's the great thing about it. The problem is you'll be sharing with other people. It's like a dorm room. So an Airbnb, you stay in another person's home. And obviously hotels and motels, obviously you book your own room. And there's higher prices on the hotel side. So motels are as you know, a little bit more cheaper. Hotels have more amenities than motels. All right, so for me, a motel will be fine because I'm barely gonna stay in the motel. I'm just gonna be sleeping there and whatnot. Because I'm gonna be going out and about. So, as I said, hostels, you share the space and you have different rules and you gotta deal with strangers. Even though it's more affordable, it can be risky. Share bathrooms, bedrooms, and showers. So now with monkeypox, which I'll talk about a little bit and do a summary of it. There's a COVID risk also. Great for extroverts, and you got to monitor your belongings, okay? Especially since you don't know these people. What I did was when I was going to the bathroom, I'll bring all my belongings with me because if I leave it in the room, because it's being shared by several other people, and then they have these beds over there. Last week when I went to the hostel, those are the beds that were there. So we all had to sleep together. So and bring your own things. Your toilet. Actually, you don't have to bring the toiletries. Soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant. As I showed the deodorant earlier. Okay, your loofah. That's what I did. All right. If you want to bring your toiletries, that's fine. It's just there's only so much space you have. So. Example for saving money, Showboat. So it was Atlantic City and Showboat last year. So if you looked at the website, if you do your shopping and you look for deals, if you look just at the website alone, you spend $389. But Puchi Con actually had a much cheaper price, about $193. I saved almost $200. Those are the receipts. I mean, that's the one on the left is not a receipt. That's just what they have available. On the right, that's a receipt. All right, so after you book, I recommend that you check with the hotel and make sure that it went through in the booking. I had a friend where it did not go through at the Hard Rock Cafe in Atlantic City, so please always check. It doesn't have to be right away. You can check maybe the next day. Next thing is check their help and support page. And also, tips first thing with friends, I like to say 5 maximum. You can put as much people as you want, but make it easier for you. You want to try to keep it to a minimum. And now the COVID guidelines are more, I guess, lax. So it's up to you whether you want to do a background check. Some places will still, like Otakon, for example, they still require masks. They still require a full vaccination or a negative test. Also find out if they do free bag or coat check. I believe they do this here. So you go downstairs and check there. And then online cons, you already know, just use Wi-Fi or good cell service. So if more than one person will room with you, you obviously got to know who you're going to invite, know who you're inviting. If you want to do a background check, you have to also determine one person who's going to be the leader, the person who's going to collect all the money and who's responsible for everyone's status. Okay, communication is important as well. We tend to use Instagram DMs to communicate with each other, and it's also important to split the costs. Do you want your room like this? No, I don't want it either. That could lead to another charge if you leave the room like this before you check out. So it's important for people to respect each other and follow the rules. Okay, keep it clean up after yourselves, try not to eat in the bed. I mean, these are obvious things. Okay, now when I stay with multiple people, I have my stuff here. I put it on one side here. I just put everything in one place. Because if you put it all over the place, you're going to be spending a lot of time looking, I can't find this, I can't find that. Oh, where is this? And it's stressful. We don't want it stressful. The goal for going to cons is to have fun. All right, so, and keep the noise level down. Oh wait, I forgot there's a mic. Testing, is this working? No, it's not. You can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I totally forgot about the mic, and they were testing it. All right, so keep the noise level down. Okay, because you have to be mindful of the people in the rooms next door. All right, so keep the alcohol to a minimum. Obviously, 21 or older. All right, I will actually talk about alcohol, and the obvious thing, the golden rule: be polite, be courteous, be respectful. Transportation, you got to plan for it, so you budget extra time. All right, if possible, you look for good deals. So you do megabus. Sometimes you may have to wait because they may not have the dates available for the buses. I use Flixbus. I do not like Greyhound for some reason. Actually, there is a reason why I don't like Greyhound, because there was one instance where I had to wait for 4 hours. My bus was delayed for 4 hours. I decided, you know what? I'm going to Penn Station. So I walked there and took an Amtrak. So also familiarize with the schedules and know which gate or platform. All right, so very, very important. I had a friend, actually 2 friends, who are going to Wayne, New Jersey from Penn Station. They took one train, they had to transfer to another one. Instead of going north to meet with my 2 other friends to pick them up, they were supposed to go to, I think, River's Edge. I forgot what station it was, but it's on the Purple Line. They went to North Elizabeth. That's the other side. And the 2 people in the car, they had to go drive all the way down there. And it's a hassle. And good thing they weren't late, because the con started late. But anyway, so Google Maps, that's what almost everyone uses. I use Google Maps. That shouldn't be your only tool, because Google Maps make mistakes too. So always question when you're doing transportation itineraries, whether it's feasible or not. It's very important. All right, so you have to find out different ways to get there. So again, look over, do your research. I try to have paper and electronic, but most people are just focusing on electronic. So what if your phone dies, for example? What if there's no service? Sometimes when you're in the tunnels, there's no service. I had to deal with that this morning. All right, so if they require it nowadays, they're more lax, as I said, with COVID. So make sure you have a proof negative test or full vaccination if they require it. I have something called the Excelsior Pass, which I'll show. I think New Jersey has something called the Docket app. If I'm not, so they'll tell you if you're vaccinated or not. So once booked, monitor frequently, because just like with me, sometimes the itinerary gets canceled out of nowhere. These are the many sites. Don't memorize them, please. Please don't. All right, kayak tends to go for, most of the main sites, like Travelocity or Orbitz and all that stuff. So Google Flights, I just use it just for reference. I don't usually order flights from Google. All right, so another example why it's very important to do your research. All right, so going to Atlantic City, it was $70 round trip, but there was Our Bus. So if you choose the right bus for Our Bus, so that's another website, I found something cheaper. I saved almost $30. I know $30 is not a lot, but every dollar goes a long way. That's an example of a COVID test, but you're not going to see too much of that anyway. I still recommend that you do COVID testing in case if you get exposed or in case if you have symptoms. Now monkeypox has a PCR test. At least in New York, they approved it. That's another app. For example, if you don't want to fumble through your pockets, New York City actually has an app that where you keep everything together. You just take a picture of the IDs. That's my vaccination card right over there. And that's my vaccine passport on the right. I'm waiting for my 4th dose, but I'm not eligible yet. So I'm waiting for the Omicron updated vaccine. So that's coming around September, October. Yeah, most of us are. I'm in healthcare. As I said, I'm a pharmacist. I have to be protected. So why most of us are wearing a mask, vaccinated or not, because nothing's 100%, all right? So you gotta have multiple layers. Even vaccines are not 100%, even though they help. It's like the foundational one. You add more layers. So you mask up, you have maybe a good ventilation system, maybe you can social distance. Not easy to social distance in the New York City area, but that's okay. All the other layers will be great. So no touching your face, no, there's testing, tracing. If you're sick, you stay home. So this is a Swiss cheese model, states that no intervention is perfect. And the holes are where the virus can actually enter through and penetrate it. So more layers you have, the more protection you have, and the less chance of getting exposed. To mask or not to mask. Usually if you're outside, and as long as you're social distance, you can that's fine. If you're in a big crowd and you're not social distancing, unmasking may lead you to be vulnerable, all right? So I recommend indoor places if you're not feeling well, okay? So if you have a recent or suspected exposure to COVID, if you're in healthcare settings. So the other ones, most of it's like from New York, but each facility or setting may have their own rules. So whichever is more stringent, you go for that if you're not sure where to go. So monkeypox, I'm just gonna brush through it. So the first case was actually in Boston in this year actually. So the last one in the US was 2003. So it's endemic meaning it's been there for a while. Just like with the flu is endemic here, there's seasonal flu is endemic. So monkeypox is endemic in Central and West Africa. All right, so it belongs to what we call orthopox virus. It's under that same umbrella with smallpox and other diseases. So just like COVID, it can get through the respiratory tract, all right? But it's not it requires a little bit, as I say, a little bit more of a dose. So it would be prolonged contact, okay? And also, unlike with COVID, COVID's mainly airborne. If you have broken skin, that's where the virus can enter. It can also enter through the mouth, through the nose, through body fluids. If you have close contact with the person who is infected, if you have close contact with the lesions, or if you have contact with contaminated bedding, with fabrics, for example. Now you may be asking, oh, what about public transit? It's still low. All right. The main thing is really, the main risk is when you have close contact to a person who is infected. All right. So symptoms, you get your flu-like symptoms within the first 3 weeks. So 1 to 3 weeks. So fever, chills, fatigue, headache, muscle aches, weakness, backache, swollen lymph nodes, etc. And then after that, you get these pus, these blisters, things, and the illness could last 2 to 4 weeks. Some people may have it as long as 5 weeks now. So they scab. Now we have a good healthcare system. So if you take care of yourself, you take care of the symptoms. If you stay home, you'll be fine. The death rate is about 1 to 10%. Okay, so most of the deaths are in Africa. Recently, there are 2 deaths that's outside Africa. There's one in Spain, one in Brazil. So, but this is not something to be scared of. This is something to be careful and to keep an eye on, and use your safety protocols. Okay, so washing your hands, avoiding the skin contact, those kinds of things. So avoid contact with animals that have. Now this, you may be thinking, how is this related to con survival? Because when you're going to cons, it's a lot of people, and then when you get sick, especially with COVID or the flu or monkeypox, you're spreading it, even when you're asymptomatic. That's very scary. So avoid contact with materials that have been contaminated. So isolate affected people from others. That means you don't come to the con. Please, okay? I already said about the proper hygiene, 20 seconds, or as my friend says, sing happy birthday twice. Whatever works. Or you can use your Purell, all right? But if you're gonna use hand sanitizer, make sure the alcohol content is at least 70%. I know it's very hard to read because the text is so small. So you can still wear masks. Some people wear gloves, all right? But you don't have to, because as long as you're always able to wash your hands and maintain good hand hygiene, and you don't use your hands to touch your face and your eyes and your nose, those things. So there are vaccines available. It's hard to get. New York City is the epicenter, and every time there's a lot of doses, they're gone in a matter of minutes. So you don't memorize about it. They're just letting you know it is there, and that we can do this. So, but don't be complacent either. Polio. So I'm just gonna brush through it. Recently, we got a case in Rockland County. So, and it's also contagious. But last time, we thought we got rid of this one long time ago, but it came back, and now it's in wastewater. So what it does is it causes paralysis, and for the first few weeks, you're not gonna have symptoms, and you could be spreading and not even know it. And again, it's not meant to be scary, but these things can happen. It's pretty rare at this point. Most of us, I think 99% of us have been vaccinated when we were kids and within the first year of being born, because it was one of the required vaccines. So again, there is a vaccine available for it. Okay, so about 72%, almost 3/4 of the people don't have symptoms for it. All right, 1 in 4 who are infected will have the flu-like symptoms first. And then what it will do, this virus will actually attack the nerves, and then how people die is because you can't even breathe, because you need these nerves in order to, there's a diaphragm right here, and this one will help you breathe, and if they don't work, you're not breathing. Sometimes you could be in a ventilator and you die from it if you're not able to breathe. Oh, sorry. Yep. So most people will recover from it, but again, um, there is an issue along the way, which I'll talk about. So one to five in 1,000, it's rare. So you'll have the pins and needles. Some people get meningitis, so that's inflammation of the spinal cord and brain, all right, and paralysis. So one famous president is FDR. So FDR got polio. He was paralyzed from down up. I don't think people were realizing, but he was on a wheelchair. So children who recover it may get muscle pain, weakness, or paralysis as adults about 15 to 40 years later. That's what we're concerned about. So that they call it post-polio syndrome. So if you're not sure about this, again, this is just for educational purposes. All right, everyone's health is different. It's always important to check with your doctor on a yearly basis. Always do a physical every year. Make sure everything's okay. As I said, 1 ounce of prevention is a pound of a cure. So when you prevent something, you can actually avoid bigger issues from coming into the future. So I'm just going to go just a little bit. So there's no cure so far, but there's only treatments for the symptoms. So there's a vaccine for it. So it's an IPV. We're not going to go over that. That's what you deal with the doctor. There's a child dose. There's an adult dose, and then there's even a booster in case if you get exposed. All right, domestic travel. So why did I put that there? Because if you get sick and you travel on a plane, you're infecting more people. So that's why it's important that I talk about the diseases. So stay up to date with the COVID vaccines. Now, I flew recently. I went to Las Vegas. I didn't gamble. I had a pharmacy conference. They didn't check anything. It's like we went back to pre-COVID. But this is just your recommendations. All right. So, but always check the safety protocols anyway. Sometimes if you're going to go to another country, they'll have different requirements. So that's, again, this is with COVID. Who knows? It could be coming from monkeypox because the World Health Organization declared it as like a public health emergency or something. I know U.S. already declared that. All right, so do a PCR test 1 to 3 days prior. That's a recommendation now. So it used to be one of those requirements, and it was a headache. And how do you social distance in a plane? That's beyond me. All right, so that's why I wear a mask. But again, that's strongly encouraged. So of course your hand hygiene, all that. So similar thing with international travel. You'll see on the CDC website where there's no need for a negative test if you're going to arrive to the U.S. But the best thing to do is to be on the safe side just in case. All right. So I don't recommend travel, obviously, if you're sick. Okay, if you tested for positive, okay, or if you're waiting for your COVID results and you're symptomatic. All right, so again, these things in the CDC website, they went lax on it. So this is more of a recommendation. So before 2 years ago, it was 14 days. The quarantine was 14 days. Now the quarantine is 10 with an asterisk. So if you get tested positive, you quarantine for 10 days. But after day 5, if you get tested negative, you're okay. That's what happened with President Biden. So when he was taking Paxlovid, and then he got tested positive. But that's a whole different story. So if you still test positive at day 5, you still stay home. If you have no symptoms, you're tested negative at day 5, you can actually test out of it, but you still wear a mask as a precaution. So that's basically the summary of that. So, but if you had a close contact, you get tested at least 5 days after last exposure, simply because if you test right away, it may not detect it until later on. That's why you have 5 days there. The COVID within the 90 days, they actually got rid of that recently. So, but even though there's no need to test, you still provide documentation. It's optional now. So if you travel during the 10 days after the last exposure, you wear the mask just as a precaution. If you arrive back to the US, again, this is recommended. Stay home and self-quarantine, okay? But this is more towards if you have this, obviously, if you have the symptoms, okay? And again, testing is recommended. So flying, not my favorite. So it's fastest, most expensive. It's kind of more stressful too because you have to arrive there 2 to 3 hours prior, and you gotta have to research all the flights, just like we did with the other transportation options. Also, May 3rd, 2023, you gotta get your real ID, or in New York, it's enhanced ID, or that little star on the driver's license, or government photo ID, or you cannot fly domestic. So get your eye exams and all that stuff, and then you research what the carrier checks. So props, sometimes they need to be checked. That's one example. The second thing is that some props are so sharp they look like real weapons. You may have to have it sent separately. That's why I don't want to go through these things, but it's out there in case if you want to go all out at another con that's far away. So I like trains and buses. They're my favorite because I don't have to go 2 to 3 hours prior to departure. I can get there 30 minutes, more towards the 45 minutes. If you want to be super safe, 1 hour. My recommendation, if you're traveling less than 250 miles away, so roughly going to either Boston or DC from here, I actually recommend trains or buses simply because it's a headache to go through flying, and there's always going to be delays, and you may run the risk of cancellation, especially for summer. Like people are just dropping off like flies. Like they're not showing up to work, and now the flights are getting canceled, and it's a headache. But again, it's up to you. My friend still flies from New York to DC for Katsucon. But I don't see what the point is, because the distances if you do bus or train is almost the same. Because even though if you land, obviously there's more time, because sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes the plane is just hovering over the airport waiting for the runways to clear. Who knows? Okay, public transportation. I took the New Jersey Transit bus to get here, and it's easier, convenient, and cheaper. You still have to study and plan things out. So Google Maps will help you with that. And you have to know how to pay the fare as well. And always have different ways of itineraries to get around, God forbid, if there is any advisories or whatnot. Now, there is a shuttle bus running in certain lines in the New York City subway, so plan for that, budget extra time. Driving is a responsibility, okay? Your car, if you have a car, that's your baby, all right? You gotta take care of it. And you have to bring it to the shop, it's like a doctor's office, in order to make sure it doesn't break down. Do you want your car to break down and you're halfway between your home and your con? No. So you always have to take care of your car, all right? So it's more freedom, but there's more responsibility. I don't see it as a freedom in where I live because I can't even find a parking spot. And if you find the parking, you're probably gonna pay God knows how much. And even though gas prices are going down, it's still expensive. So before traveling, get the car checked, as I said. And I say take a break every 1 to 3 hours or every 100 miles, just to stretch and all that. Carpooling, if you're going to carpool, you gotta pay the driver money for the tolls and the gas and taking care of the car and the tips, etc. Driver choose the music. If the driver falls asleep, you're screwed. So the driver choose the music so the driver can stay awake, and make sure the driver is sober, obviously. All right, sober in alcohol, and is not doing that. Why? Because we need him to be alert, and obviously. But I have to drill these down. Because some people make wrong decisions, and we don't want that. Your safety is important. Cosplay, I love it. Okay, So con crunching's not advised, but I'm guilty of it. I'm sorry. I did it last night because I've been busy. So research your dress code. This one is not too crazy. Just make sure you cover the parts that need to be covered. Okay. So plan out how to put your cosplay together, especially if you have a new cosplay. I tend to buy them because I have no patience and I have no time and I'm busy at work. So, but if you find that joy of making a costume from scratch, go for it. If you, all right, so also you want to consider the weather and the environment. I did not consider the weather and the environment. I have long sleeves. So wish me luck. So gather your materials and tools, start with what you want to buy. All right, even though you want to be exactly like the character, sometimes your comfort and your safety need to go above that, so you can actually improvise. But hey, cosplay is an art, so you can improvise and all that. If people don't like their cosplay, that's on them. Just ignore them. They don't exist. But I'll talk a little bit about that. Always cost test. Do you want a wardrobe malfunction? No. Weapons and props. Thank God this is my weapon, but this is like a cloth. So, but I do cosplay Giyu. So from Demon Slayer, he has a sword. So you have to research. In some big cons, you would need to go to prop check in order to get it checked. And if they don't approve it, you cannot bring it. Obviously, you cannot bring it to the con. If they do approve it, sometimes they'll put a little sticker. They'll put a zip tie or whatnot. So, but the rules change on a yearly basis. So always check, exercise good judgment, and you consider materials used. So if you have something that's metal or sharp, it's likely they're not going to accept it. So don't even think about it. Okay, live weapons not recommended. So for example, if you have a gun, cover it. If you have a bow and arrow, you got to tether it. You got to be careful because we don't want those arrows hitting anyone, right? So very important. So as I said, you got to know how to transport them. That's why I like trains and buses. You carry it with you, and I cover my sword for Giyu in a sleeve. I remember one time I was carrying it just with the sheath. Even with the sheath, people were looking at me. And the police was asking me, what's this? I'm like, this is EVA foam, right? Like, feel it. If it's metal, I'd be putting a lot of effort carrying this. So, why did I say it? Because if it looks dangerous, don't expose it. That's why I put it in a sleeve. And as I said, cons will inspect them, and you have to go to prop check. So, and I already said, they'll put a sticker or a zip tie or whatnot. Okay, so as I said, disable tether and tether it. Disable projectile weapons, handle with care. Use caution with sharp, pointy objects. You have to be aware of the surroundings. I don't know if you watch My Hero Academia. There's a person named Hawks. Some cosplayers, they'll have the wings like short, or they'll have it spread out. Again, be aware of your surroundings. You don't want to poke anyone or hurt anyone. Okay, no explosives, obviously. No pyrotechnics, obviously. No smoke, no bubbles. Bubbles can damage some people's props or cosplay. So, and don't be surprised if any item gets confiscated. And hide your pepper sprays. My pepper spray got confiscated in Brooklyn Comic Con. But I told them that, I take the subway every day, so you got to protect yourself. But you only use it for self-defense, but don't use it. Obviously, don't use it at a con. So it's a lot already. So prepare for a travel checklist. Get your clothes ready. I say about one set of clothes per day. That's what I've been doing. I've been going to cons since 2016. I've been cosplaying since 2015, but I've gone to events before 2015, but it was like healthcare related, pharmacy related, those kinds of things. So, do it with what works for you, and don't carry more than you're able to. If you need to carry more, get a bigger luggage, for example. or you may have to get multiple ones. Try to keep the amount of luggages to a minimum, because sometimes buses, trains may not accept anymore because there's only so much room they have. So, and also it's a hassle to carry more than two. Like I have a backpack and I have it for my laptop. And some cons will have a schedule. So there is a spreadsheet in the Puchi Con website. You can download that. All right, so when it comes to scheduling, don't overschedule yourself, okay? When you go to a con, you're here to have fun, okay? You're not there to stress yourself out, obviously. And then download the maps too. And then get your travel itinerary ready. So your geeksgathering.com has a con checklist. So one of them is your deodorant. The other one is my water bottle, which I'm gonna fill again. Your phone. I have 3 battery packs in my bag. All right. And there is actually a Nintendo Switch there, but that's optional. Right? There is on the right side. Yeah, right here. There's a 3DS. So water bottle, health insurance card. Okay, that's a power. Why would you bring a power strip? That's a little extra. You don't need like one of those long ones. You just have those that have those little USB ones. Oh wait, did I go too fast? Okay, so those are the examples. All right, especially if you're gonna stay at a hotel, bring your own toothbrush, toothpaste. I bring my own soap all the time. Bring your medications, phones and chargers, battery packs. I have a confession. I actually left my inhaler, so try not to rush too. So we're all human. I make mistakes too. Obviously, bring your wallet, bring your documents if it's possible. I had a customer who only had a tank top, short shorts, and a phone. That's it. Don't do that. Okay? So not everyone accepts Apple Pay. So always carry a wallet. And what if you're driving and you don't have the ID? You're screwed. So emergency contact info just in case as well. So, and then cosplay repair kit suggestions, you already know. So your pin, your bobby pins, your scissors. I have a little case in there. You don't have to go too crazy on that. If you have wig caps, if you have rubber bands, I have a sewing kit in there, but I do it manually. I don't have the machine. All right. So in this case, wear a mask. All right. You have to take a shower, okay? I'm sorry. It's especially summertime, you got to take a shower. I don't want to smell your thing, okay? And again, I have this in my bag, and they don't last long, okay? If you took a shower earlier this morning, you put this on, it's not going to last 24 hours, all right? Brush your teeth daily. I don't want to smell your breath either, okay? Wash your hands also, and also make sure your clothing's clean. And it's not just with the monkeypox thing, okay? It's just in general. So you arrive at the con. I arrived super early to avoid the lines, okay? To avoid line con, if there is a line con. Okay, stay hydrated, and if you're carrying a lot of stuff, and you find a free bag and code check, and also reevaluate, because sometimes some panels do get canceled, and there'll be some panels where it may be popular and they're gonna run out of seating, and there's only so much people they could put in there because of the fire code. And also have backup and alternative plans just in case, which I actually did for one of the cons, because one of the panelists did not show up and it had to be canceled. Okay, most cons. This con has a dealer's room / artist alley. Sometimes they will combine it together. All right, there's autographs. I put splurge alert for a reason, simply because you gotta watch your spending. All right, I'm not saying don't spend money, obviously, but I'm just saying that I don't want you to fall short, God forbid, if you need to eat or if there's something important that you need to purchase, whatnot. So panels, photo shoots, meetups, they have it here. I think they have a contest here too. Dances, raves. They had one for last night. I think they're gonna have one for tonight here. The gaming is there, all that. So and This is one of my favorites simply because it has almost everything that a big con has, but you don't have to deal with these large amounts of people. So online virtual cons, so I think that's going to be the future. I mean, it's already here, we have it, but there's less going on, but I think it's going to be more hybrid, especially for bigger cons. So if you're not able to attend maybe near Comic-Con or whatnot, you can actually purchase it for a smaller fee and watch the panels from your comfort of your own home. So you can go to convention, as I said, without leaving your home. It's easy to attend and organize, but it's harder to spread the word because there's too many to choose from. So it takes less time and less effort to set up, and it's flexible. Some cons will go, as I said, hybrid. So these are just a few examples. Like your Comic-Con, for example, is both in person and online. Okay, so you'll have similar amenities as well. So one example was for dealers. Artist Alley. Artist Alley had a link to an Etsy for one virtual con I've seen. I did a panel via Instagram Live. It's not the same. I actually prefer doing it in person. The only thing is I was able to save it. And you can also have the dances. I remember there was a dance being done. There was a DJ on the Discord. So that was one example there. And then you can do your contest. You can just record it from your own home, and then you just submit it. Those are just some of the examples. You can be creative with it. Okay, so back to in-person cons, right? So you hear the 6-2-1-6-3-1 rule. That means 6+ hours of sleep per day. If you need more, then you need to sleep more. All right, 2 to 3 meals a day. The multivitamin it's an optional thing because so you can meet all your needs. All right, and of course you got to take a shower. And there's the deodorant again. All right, so as I said many times, in addition to having deodorant, you got to have fun. Okay, that's the goal of going into a con. And as I said, keep your schedule realistic. Wear comfortable shoes. The shoes don't have to match with the cosplay. All right. And I said, keep track of your time and money. And if you're stressed out or if you're overwhelmed, try to look for quiet, safe spaces. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem here. And if everything's going crazy and all that, take a step back and breathe. All right, spoon theory. So this measures your energy. I don't know who's heard of spoon theory by any chance? No? Okay, good. So spoons, think of it as your energy currency. So if you sleep or rest, you get more spoons. If you do an action like what I'm doing right now, you lose spoons. Very easy like that. And we do it by whole spoons. All right, and I don't know if you're able to see this, but the type of action determines how many spoons you need to use. So if you're going for a jog, you may need like 5 spoons. Everyone's different. One limitation is that it doesn't account into if you're gonna run for maybe 5 minutes as opposed to 1 hour. They didn't put into that consideration. You may use less spoons if you do an activity for a shorter amount of time, or if you put a little bit less effort onto it. And if you do that effort for long periods of time, obviously you're going to use more spoons. So this person named Christine Miserandino created this while she was at a diner with her friend. And she said, I have she has lupus, so she said, okay, these are the spoons I have. This is what I can use, if I do X, Y, Z. And again, round it to the nearest whole spoon. If you run out of spoons early, you're gonna use spoons from tomorrow. All right. But everyone's different. So that's a way of trying to conserve your energy. All right, depending on the condition, you can start at 20 spoons or higher. Again, this is just an option. All right, and same activity doesn't equal the same cost of spoons with 2 different people, and it's not the same thing depending on the effort that you put in or the length of duration. So money, let's talk about money again. So you're right over there, there are vendors there. It's very important to support them. Okay, especially with COVID, they suffered a lot. We want to help them, but we will also want to make sure you have enough money as well. You don't want to go broke. So you always ask, why am I here? How do I feel? Do I need this? Is this a need versus a want? So I had one person ask me like if there's emotional need and whatnot. So what if I wait? Maybe you get a discount. Maybe if you wait, you lose that opportunity. Who knows? How do I pay for it? And where will I put it? I don't buy a lot simply because I'm running out of space in my room. So etiquette, obviously cosplay is not consent. When I first started cosplaying, I saw people have these yaoi paddles and they would start smacking people with it just for fun. There was also something called glomping. I was glomped at Anime and Next, actually, Anime Next. I was Minato and I was walking around just doing my thing. And then my friend, who was Sailor Jupiter, just jumped on me and went like this, like that, and I fell and my wig came off. Now, it's a good thing I know her, but so no issue. But what if it's a person who has like anxiety disorders? What if a person is very sensitive? What if a person is physically disabled? You can hurt someone. So please no glomping, please. And always ask permission. All right, so, and keep your hands to yourself. We have a governor in New York, the previous one, we're not gonna talk about him, okay? He didn't keep his hands to himself, that's what happened. So, you gotta be polite and respect each other. And always ask permission. If they say no, it's okay, just move on, It's not your fault, it's not you. Sometimes, especially when cosplayers are eating or they're in the middle of something, but anyways, 90% of the time, we'll say yes, but you gotta ask permission. Usually when you ask permission, you'll get the best photos, trust me. All right, try not to surprise or do sneak attacks. Please, no glomping, all right? So be careful with people's possessions and costumes, and as I said, don't get upset if a person says no. And if someone wants to take a picture of you or do X, Y, Z, and if you don't feel comfortable, just say no. It's your cosplay, it's your body. So, please protect yourself. But if someone is harassing you, we gotta step it up. Okay, we are stating and addressing the behavior, and we have to tell the person it's wrong. If the person, and ignore and stay away. And being with a group of friends. So if it persists, I try to take a picture of the person. I would report it to con ops or venue security. All right, again, safety is important. When you're in etiquette, don't block traffic, please. When you want to take a photo, just step to the side. All right. So, photo shoots and meetups away from high traffic areas, you'll have your own room or your own spot to do it now. So respect people's space and be alert and aware of people's surroundings. Etiquette. Continuing with that. Cosplay judging only for cosplay contests. We all have opinions. I get it. All right. No one's perfect, it's an art. I was criticized with my cosplay for Minato because I didn't have blue eyes. I didn't put contacts. Come on. All right. As long as we're recognizable, all right? And plus, it's an art. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Excuse me. So it's about recognizing the character, as I said. So there are many ways to cosplay someone. I'm going to show you the next slides. So I would say compliment and acknowledge the effort. The fact that you cosplay anything, that shows at least there's some effort into it. Most of the critiques I get are from normies, from who are not cosplaying. So praise and motivate, give suggestions on how to improve, and constructive criticism is in, maybe make this better, X, Y, Z. I was criticized by one cosplayer, but that's only one cosplayer. Everyone else, they were dressed up in their regular clothes. You don't have to love or hate a cosplay. It's okay to agree, it's okay to disagree, but you don't have to go too crazy, okay? It reminds me of the Voltron fandom. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but I have a few friends who are part of the Voltron fandom, and they were saying, oh, you have to do this ship, or you have to do that ship. I like this and I like that. It's okay to like something. You just can't force people to say, oh, their ship is wrong, this is wrong. No. We all love the show, and let's celebrate that. Don't just start doing debates over that. Also, respect the art and the effort. So, cosplay critics, I like to piss off cosplay critics. So, we have Team Rocket joining the Akatsuki, 2 different anime. Okay, one cosplayer did half Naruto, half Sasuke. Yeah, and there are at least 12 Sasuke's. You can do an E-boy, you can do a Christmas. I did a Christmas version of this cosplay for Aizawa. I also did a formal version as well, because I want to see those critics have their minds blow off, and I want to see them cringe and all that. But again, it's art. The sky's the limit. Just do it safely. So, cosplay positivity doesn't matter if your height, your weight, your race. I can't even see it. Yeah, race, your gender, your age, your skill level. By the way, I did see a cosplayer years ago who it was an old guy dressing up as, if you know SpongeBob, right? You know Mermaid Man, right? The big orange guy? Yes. I have to look for the picture. I was like, wow. So you can cosplay whoever you want, because in the end we all love it. And you look amazing anyway. Even if it's a little different and unrecognizable, you can also do cosplay that's original OG or OC, whichever it is. In the end, we all love to cosplay. I can't even, let's see. In the end, we all love fiction, we all love characters, we all are dorks in costumes. So no cosplay hate, no hate in general, all right? So networking, cons aren't just for fun either. You can also network, all right? So, and who knows, that you could land you to an opportunity for a job, but that's if you wanted to get there. Exactly. So you can meet, we have celebrities there. There is actually one person I want to meet. She voices Lisa from Genshin Impact, but that's beside the point. So when you meet more people, you can, if there's opportunities you want to get into that's within your hobbies, you can ask. Maybe being a voice actor, voice actress, etc. So you can also make friends and exchange info and ideas, but also be respectful, honest, and straightforward. Just be yourself, okay? Just, think of them as your friend. Say, hi, I'm this and that, and ask about cosplay interests and share the passions. So at the end of the panel, you can, if you want to follow me, but we're not going to do that yet because I'm not finished yet. You can ask me if you have any questions after the panel, let me know. So I'm autistic and I had to practice. So that's what I did with a friend. Sometimes I have a script. Over time, it becomes natural, and then you start to create conversations and get engaged with it. Sometimes I keep notes and reminders, and just also, not everyone's gonna befriend you, and it's okay. There's always more people. But at the same time, don't take advantage of anyone. Don't let anyone take advantage of you, all right? Don't spam my DMs on Instagram if you do follow me, please. I'm not gonna respond to every single DM, okay? That's the other thing. Don't blow up anyone's feed. Don't blow up their phones, okay, with their texts or DMs. So, as I said, sharing common interests. Online groups and forums is there. So you have some icebreakers to introduce yourself. These are a few of the voice actors for Fairy Tail whom I met. So now with other friends or even with these people, you can ask which cons do they go to, what their favorite anime or manga or movie or character or ship. Maybe ask for advice or help if you have any questions. I usually compliment on people's cosplay. I just complimented Denji just earlier before I started. Networking, you can network almost anywhere in the con. So usually in the lines, in the meetups, in the panels, in the photo shoots, Artist Alley, Dealer's Alley, Dealer's Alley. That's like the combination. Dealer's Room, Artist Alley, dances, parties, those kinds of things, anywhere where you can actually meet and greet. Okay, so social media, there's a lot going on here. Oh boy. So be careful with what you share, okay? Simply because they may use it against you. Before you share something, you always think about the benefits and the risks and consequences of it. And why you're doing this. What's your rationale? What's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish in posting this? If you see my Instagram, you'll see my cosplays. You're gonna see my monkeypox posts. You'll see my COVID posts. You'll see me post health-related stuff, medications. So you know my reasons for that. It's to help people, get informed and, be healthier. Keep it clean and respectful. Do not post misinformation, disinformation. If you're going to post something, all right, always check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because sometimes those posts could be deleted by the social media platform. Instagram sometimes will take out the video. I had a video where someone was playing Celine Dion music, all right, and I was recording them dancing. They gave me a strike. So please be careful. And no shaming either. And no gatekeeping. I forgot to put that. No gatekeeping. All right? If they're a little bit of a fan, or if they're big of a fan, or anywhere in between, each and every person needs to be respected, okay? Not everyone finished the anime or manga or whatnot, okay? Don't disrespect them for that. Don't get upset because they don't know everything about it. I didn't finish most of the anime I have. There's still a long list of anime I need to watch. That's one example, though. It doesn't have to be anime. It could be like movies, and it could be comics and whatnot. Cons, parties, and dances. So limit alcohol intake. It's only for 21 older, obviously. And don't mix alcohol with other medications. Trust me. Just take my word for it. Please. All right. And full meal before partying, simply because if you drink alcohol on an empty stomach, there you go. You're gonna get drunk a little bit faster. Don't give in to peer pressure. If you don't want to drink, you don't have to drink. All right, that's me. Walk away from negativity. Again, you're here to have fun. Go with friends and try not to overdo it. Okay, whether it's eating or drinking, try not to overdo it. All right. So I tell people limit alcohol intake to 1 to 2 glasses per day. Is that a glass?
Looks like a glass.
It's a joke.
It's a jug, yeah. I don't even know how much alcohol is in there.
At least a bottle.
So, oh wait, I'm gonna make this quick because I'm actually gonna transition to another panel. But so, how much is too much alcohol? 1 glass is 0.6 ounces. That's 18 milliliters. That's a little bit more than a tablespoon. Okay, tablespoon's about 15 milliliters of pure alcohol. Yeah. So there's 12 ounces of. So these are just some of the examples. Women, 1 glass a day. If you're pregnant or nursing, or if you have certain health conditions, 0. So if you have cirrhosis, anything issues with your liver, 0. Men, 2 glasses. Why? Because men tend to have higher metabolisms. All right, so be careful with what you're drinking. And obviously, if you're under 21, please no alcohol, okay? If you're pregnant or nursing, no alcohol. If you're designated drivers, you have to be sober. If you take certain medications, if you have certain health conditions. So don't memorize the numbers, memorize the trends. So the heavier you are, the more alcohol you're gonna need to get drunk. But the more skinnier you are, the less amount that it takes to get drunk. But there are other factors as well. We're not going to go too much with the math there, but that's just there if you want to calculate. But when you're drinking, who measures? So we'll skip that one. And after the con, assuming that you didn't have a hangover, if possible, I would attend a session or a panel if they have it available. And if not, you can email them. All right, and to maintain contact info, keep in touch with the people, with the new friends, with even your vendors, even the people who you met, like, when you get your autographs, share your pics, you plan for the next con event. Post-con blues depression. This will lead to the next panel, which I'm gonna host. So, mostly normal and temporary. It happens, we're sad after a con ends. And you want to focus on something positive. You want to talk to your friends and family. Try not to be too hard on yourself. Diet and exercise is very important. And I also plan for another con, if you have the money to do so. And then there's private cosplay meetups as well that some friends will host. And if it's still having issues, you seek professional help. So BetterHelp app is one example. There are other apps out there. All right. So con crud. So getting sick after the con, there might be other diseases as well. So be careful with that. So typically a cold, flu, or other illnesses. So it's caused by poor diet, poor sleep, poor hygiene, especially if you're in a large confined space and your immune system gets compromised. Also get tested. Okay. Rest and fluids. That's the best thing. All right? And obviously no alcohol. So if you have some kind of a fever or pain, it's okay if I close the door. Let me see. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna start. Sorry about that. Okay, so Tylenol, ibuprofen. So those are the for pain or fever. Ibuprofen or even Aleve as well, or naproxen. You have to take it with food. All right. So cough drops, I have them in my bag. Vitamin C and D for immunity. If you have motion sickness, there's meclizine. You'll see it as antivert. You may see Dramamine as well. They use that for motion sickness. There is guaifenesin, dextromethorphan. That's found in Mucinex. It's found in Robitussin. All right, so that's for your coughs. The dextromethorphan is mainly used for the dry coughs. Guaifenesin is what we call a mucolytic. So it helps loosen up the mucus. Antihistamines, allergy season sucks. So, you can use Claritin, Zyrtec, and Allegra. Those are the ones that don't make you sleep too much. Benadryl will knock you out. All right, if you tolerate it. So I'm not gonna go too much into it. Read the labels. Very important to read the labels. So use the ingredients, read the ingredients and the purpose, the uses, the warnings, directions. If you take any other medications, also look into that as well. So you have to read everything, even if it's just for a few minutes.
I have a question about labels.
Yes, go ahead.
You want to know why exactly? I know there are some medicines that you have to unfold to get all the information. Do you ever know why they decided to do that?
Because sometimes there's only so much they can put. Some bottles are so small.
That's true, yeah.
So that's why they would fold it that way.
It's very annoying.
It is annoying.
About that.
You know what? I don't know if the companies are going to listen to me because do you think they're about health?
No, not at all.
What are they about?
Money.
You know what they're going to do? So what they're going to do, I mean, this is just a little rant. They're going to keep the price, but what are they going to do with the product? Shrink it.
Yeah. What's it called? Shrinkflation?
Yeah, shrinkflation. I've heard of something called meatflation. I was like, what is that? Okay. So, I don't know, they're just glamorizing it. But anyway, take home messages, plan early, be organized. I know it's a lot of information, so be positive, have fun. Anyone can cosplay, all right? Just letting you know. Make friends, your health is important, respect each other, stay nerdy, because I feel, in my opinion, being a nerd makes the world go round. Nerds make the world go round, okay? I got my doctorate 9 years ago, so I'm not trying to brag or anything, I'm just giving an example that, if you work hard and if you put education first, that's why I didn't go to cons until after I graduated college. All right, so, you'll get far. And plus, we need more smart people. And don't spread COVID, don't spread monkeypox, don't spread flu, okay? Before you know it, don't spread polio, please.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Were you there before? Because I talked about polio on the panel, actually.
No, some Facebook friend mentioned in New York.
Yeah.
It's spreading.
I'm from New York City, by the way.
So-
That's part of the suburbs. So
They say get a booster if you need, and make sure your kids are vaccinated.
exactly. So as I said earlier, 95, 99%, it's actually required, within the first year for kids to get it. That's in addition to the Hep B shots and all those things. What I found about this one case is that the person was actually unvaccinated. And the vaccine actually came from from another vaccine that's not approved in the US anymore. At least that's what I'm hearing. Because the oral polio virus vaccine used to be approved, but it's no longer approved in the US. You only get the shots, but it's approved in other places in the world.
Was that the sugar cube or something like that?
Sorry?
Was that a sugar cube that they would put?
I believe so. I have to look into that because I remember seeing the pills for it. Anyway, thank you very much for attending the panel. We're actually going to switch gears to the next panel.